Coming up on today's episode, Disneyland Paris closes again due to a nationwide lockdown, Marvel is in talks with Oscar Isaac to play Moon Knight in the upcoming Disney Plus series, and we've got new information on other upcoming Disney Plus related projects. All that and more, plus our featured film discussion on Atlantis, The Lost Empire, on today's Plus or Bust. Welcome to episode 6 of Plus or Bust, a Disney podcast where each week we watch a random movie on Disney Plus and decide whether we would recommend it, a plus, or not, a bust. My name is Matt, and joining me today are my co-hosts, my wife Carissa.
Hello.
My sister Nikki.
Hi. I want to say happy birthday to our dad first.
Okay, it won't be his birthday by the time this goes up.
I know,
okay.
but while we're recording it is his birthday.
Okay, happy birthday,
He also
Dad.
won't listen.
Yeah, no, so good. And my brother Brady is also here.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Okay, so before we start, I want to say, last week I made an egregious error when I was talking about something. We were talking about the Halloween Town movies, and I said that Halloween Town High was the newest movie, but really it was Return to Halloween Town. I would like to apologize for stating that Halloween Town High was the newest movie, because that was a false statement. It sounds like it would be, though, right? It sounds like Return to Halloween Town would be the second one, and Halloween Town High would be like when they run out of ideas and are trying to like make a spinoff, like a crappy spinoff. That's what it sounds like, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
you're not wrong.
All right, so that's my apology.
You're forgiven.
Thanks.
Return to Halloween Town is the one when they tried to...
There's a new actress.
Yeah, they switched Kimberly J. Brown for Sarah Paxton and tried to think no one would notice.
We noticed because the image, like in the Disney Plus page, it looks nothing like her.
Damn.
Anyway, let's get to the news so we can get this over with.
Don't say that.
What?
I
I don't mean like get this over with. I mean get through the news.
Uh-huh.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, first news story. Disneyland Paris is set to close again starting today, October 29th, due to a second nationwide lockdown imposed by French President Emmanuel Macron because of surges in COVID-19 cases. According to the French government, the lockdown is scheduled to last for 1 month, but will be re-evaluated every 2 weeks by French officials. A statement from Disneyland Paris on the official website states,
It says, in line with the latest direction from the French authorities, Disneyland Paris will be closing end of day on October 29th, which was today. In anticipation of celebrating the Christmas holiday season, we will be taking reservations from December 19th through January 3rd and hope to be open based on prevailing conditions and government guidance at that time. Disneyland Paris will be closed from January 4th through February 12th. Please check back on the website for regular updates. We thank you for your continued loyalty and understanding during this difficult period.
so they're hoping to be open again by December 19th, but they're closing again in January.
Why are they closing in January?
I don't entirely understand why. Does Disneyland... I don't think it does, but does Disneyland Paris close...
It snows there, right?
Yeah, I was just about to ask.
So
Does it
maybe
close
that's
in the
why.
winter?
That's gotta be it. I would assume
Maybe.
that's the normal time that it would do that.
All right, so Disneyland Paris will be the second park to re-close following Hong Kong Disneyland, which I don't think has been reopened since it closed again. So I just think that's interesting. That's really the only reason I decided to include this in the news. None of us are planning to go to Disneyland Paris anytime soon, but I think it's kind of a pretty big deal that it's closing yet again, and its future is unknown at this moment.
According to their website, though, DisneylandParis.com, it says that they're open every day of the year, so...
So
I
then why
guess
is
they
it
don't
closing in
know.
January?
No idea.
It's probably just... I mean, I guess it might just be part of the lockdown thing.
Maybe.
Yeah. They want to be open for the holidays.
Our one listener in France, let us know.
We do have one listener that's in France that's pretty...
We appreciate you.
in
so maybe I
France?
should have made this a bigger deal than it was.
They've listened to every episode, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
And let us
person in
know.
France.
Contact
Thank you,
us
person
on
in France. I'm very sorry.
Instagram.
Yeah, sorry that Disneyland Paris is closed. I hope you weren't planning on going anytime soon. I've heard Disneyland Paris is the most beautiful of the Disney parks.
Oh,
I've
I've
heard.
seen pictures from one of Drea, that's our cousin's wife. One of her friends went when it had snowed. I think.
Oh, it looks so
And it
amazing
was
in the
so
snow. Like, it's
beautiful.
so surreal. It's so surreal to see a Disney park in the snow. Like, it's just, whew, it's something. I would love to go.
Someday.
Yeah.
Someday.
Me too.
I don't want to go there as much as I want to go to Tokyo, but I do really want to go.
Oh, that's a shame. Because we'd
I want to
there.
go to Tokyo the most, too.
Yeah, I think Disneyland Paris,
I think Paris is more accessible.
I'm sure it is. And
I think Paris is way more accessible, and
I heard the food is not very good, though, but
yeah, I've heard the food at Disneyland Paris sucks.
we don't want to offend our French listeners.
The thing with Disneyland Paris, and that a lot of people say about the food, is like, why would you eat at Disneyland Paris when all the food is bad, when right down the street is all the best food in the freaking world? Because France is known for food.
Yeah, that makes
like
sense.
it just pales in comparison to what you can get in the city of Paris, you know. Anyway, Disneyland Paris. Once Disney's Studios park, currently Disney's worst theme park, once they start getting all their Marvel stuff and their Frozen stuff in there, Disneyland Paris is going to be pretty bomb.
Yeah.
All right,
One day.
Moving on to other theme park related news. Starting in November, Downtown Disney in Anaheim, California will be extending to Buena Vista Street in Disney's California Adventure as shopping and dining options are open for guests visiting Downtown Disney. The shops that will be opening include Elias & Co., Julius Katz & Sons, and Kingswell Camera Shop. Dining includes Trolley Treats, Fiddler, Pfeiffer, and Practical Cafe, which is Starbucks, Carthay Circle Lounge, and Smoke Jumpers Grill. Weren't we just talking about how they should be doing this?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they did it. I mean, it only makes sense, right? Like, you might as well just give people a reason to go, give people a reason to spend money, and here we are.
More
And-
places to put all your leftover Halloween and Christmas merchandise you won't sell.
Yeah,
otherwise.
basically. So, makes sense. I get it. It'll be good revenue for them. And they have a lot of cast members that they were able to call back. I saw that, so that's good. I'm going to do everything in my power to go.
I kind of wish they would have extended out the other way a little bit more. That way they could have opened a little bit more food in another store or two, like if they extended into the beginning of Hollywood.
I mean, who knows? Maybe depending on how well this goes or how in demand it is, they might go down that way.
Because that's something that we talked about was
The
them
hot dog place.
opening the hot dog place, that store that has the Marvel stuff and the Halloween stuff and whatnot. And then, it would wrap right around the corner to Studio 17, which is a store that is currently open.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So it would make sense to at least go to Studio 17. You can block it off to where you can't go to any of the rides. It'd be easy. And having Off the Page being open because Wonderground is now gone. And Off the Page is like,
Right.
is also big statues and stuff like that.
That's true.
So
I was speculating why they didn't do that and why they didn't do Main Street. And I don't know that this is why. I don't. There might be some sort of rule where they couldn't open those parts because there are attractions there. Like if you're going towards Hollywood, even if you cut it off right past Award Wieners, there's still Disney Junior right there. And then Disneyland, Main Street technically has two attractions. Mr. Lincoln and
The little theater.
the cinema, the Main Street Cinema. And like I don't see why that would be a problem. Just close them up and don't let people in. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel like that should be an issue, but I don't know with how weird things have been in California. It could have been just a really strict thing that like Newsom was like, look, we can't have you, like people can't even be near the attractions, right? We don't want to tempt people or whatever. Like maybe there's some kind of rule where Disney can technically claim that this is a shopping district and not a theme park because it is open just, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I did speculate that like that's why they didn't do that.
but it extends to Smoke Jumpers, which is directly next to Soarin'.
But it's right before Soarin'. You could rope it off right before you get to Soarin'.
But you could make that argument that it's the same way in the other direction. I think that the whole attraction thing might be some specific thing. I don't know, but I think that it's a good thing regardless, and it makes a lot of sense.
I'm sure they started with California Adventure because they don't want to risk putting people in Disneyland.
I think that people would come because then people could go into Disneyland for the first time in their lives and not pay admission. And I think it would be just like a way bigger deal. And they don't want to do anything that's going to necessarily draw people, even though this won't draw people. And I think that maybe it would be the first time in 60 5 years. Oh, did you guys know that Walt died when he was 65 and Disneyland was closed on its 65th anniversary? Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Whoa.
Oh,
Because we were watching, what were we watching where he was talking about
Walt got
Walt?
to be at peace.
I've seen that.
What?
I don't know.
What were we watching where we were talking?
Defunctland, I think.
Oh, okay. Defunctland was doing an episode. And
The
then,
Epcot episode.
oh, okay. And he was talking about Walt and he was talking about his death and stuff and all that. And he was saying that he was 65 when he died and Disneyland was literally closed on its 65th anniversary. That's kind of weird.
You're talking too low, please. Speak louder. Anyway, I'm sure they will get a lot of people to come to Buena
there's
Vista
gonna be
Street.
so many people. I think that's why they didn't even announce a date.
But I do think it's funny because, like,
I just wonder how they're gonna get people to go in. I wonder if they're gonna make a switchback or like a queue in the Esplanade, and do that, or if they're gonna just filter people in from what's it called? Because you can go in on both sides right now. So I'm just really curious how they're gonna do it.
They'll probably make a.
They're not going to just let you walk in.
Right.
No
well,
way.
they'll probably do it in the Esplanade, and then they'll have the two, like, big gates open where they normally filter people out after the park's closed so that they're not going through the turnstiles. Because they're not going to have people walk through the turnstiles to get in.
No. I know how you'll get in, but they got to filter people in. They got to limit the
I'm
amount of
sure
people.
they will have a queue. They'll set up a queue in the
Even
Esplanade.
though, I guess. I don't know.
I was just going to say that
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
But let me tell you.
Never mind.
If,
You can just talk over me first.
So go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
keep
I just
going.
wanted to finish my thought. I was gonna say you have to go to the cast member and you have to give your phone number and then they text you when you can come back and get into the queue. And on really busy days, sometimes those queues are like 2 hours. And if you have to get in a queue for every single store and every single store is 2 hours, it comes kind of hard because then it's like, well, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? Type thing. Like I can't even imagine it having to wait in a queue for every single one of those shops, and every single one of those shops on that one side of Buena Vista Street is all open to each other. So like
They are on both sides.
They're open.
Oh, yeah,
they're
they are.
completely open on both sides.
so the capacity is bigger for each of those sides, but I still I see it being hours and hours of a wait. So okay, I'm sorry. Finish.
I was just going to say that it's going to draw a lot of people in, even though it's incredibly silly because those stores aren't going to sell anything that you can't already get at World of Disney or the Home Store or the Studio 17 store. And the other thing that's open is a Starbucks. There's already 2 Starbucks in downtown Disney. The only unique things are Carthay Circle and Smoke Jumpers. Those are the only unique things to bother going there for.
Yeah.
I think it's just...
I thought the other Starbucks in downtown closed.
No, they reopened it after they didn't build that hotel.
Oh, that's right. It closed with the movie theater. You're right. Okay, never mind.
I think it's more so just for the nostalgia.
It's more people will just be happy to be in a Disney park. Of course, that's what it is for. It's for people to do that.
It's kind of cool. You don't have to pay to get in.
Yeah, I was about to say, Carissa had a stroke being in one building in a Disney park. So...
But I just think it's funny because, like, again, they're not going to sell anything unique there.
Nope, but I'm still going, and so are you.
Nope. No.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Please.
I'd rather buy my Mickey ears from Oswald's gas station than at the World of Disney.
They didn't even say if Oswald's was going to be open.
Shut up. Nobody asked you, Matt.
They did say that, like, the stands and stuff would be open. So, like, the churro stand will be open. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
A lot of people will go just for that.
There's going to be a 2-hour virtual queue for the churros.
Yeah,
Probably.
I heard churros, popcorn, all that stuff. They're going to be having some, so...
Leftover popcorn buckets from Halloween. Please buy them.
I'm hoping I can get Guinevere finally. From freaking March.
All right, so the next news story is much more sad. The Actors Equity Association has released an official statement on the recent cast member layoffs at Walt Disney World, stating that over 700 equity cast members have been let go. For people who don't know, equity cast members are performers, people that perform in the various shows or like Streetmosphere characters. As of right now, in Walt Disney World, the only show that uses equity performers that is open is the Frozen Sing-Along in Hollywood Studios. And pretty much everybody else has been let go. So none of those other shows are looking like they're going to be opening anytime soon. So Indiana Jones Stunt Show, Beauty and the Beast Live.
Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo musical and Animal Kingdom, Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Fantasmic, all of those shows.
The Lion King also.
The Festival of the Lion King. We've been hearing that all of those shows are, as of right now, closed indefinitely.
Oh boy.
And that sucks.
It also makes, like, no sense because, like, some of those are outside and can easily be socially distanced.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't Fantasmic a stadium?
Fantasmic it's a huge stadium. It's humongous there. But as of right now, the lake is drained. The water is drained. They have no plans to reopen Fantasmic anytime soon.
A lot of people were saying that Chapek, this is like his dream come true because he wants to get rid of like entertainment and stuff like that. So this could be a way. But a lot of people are also like super upset. But there a lot of cast members are saying like if you are upset about these shows being closed and all this stuff, write to Disney, tell them how you feel, tell them that you want the Streetmosphere back, that you want these shows back and stuff. I mean, I think that part of the reason is that they probably weren't sure like how many people were going to come to Walt Disney World with things as they are, and they have enough people to sustain it for now. So until it's like really, really gets to lower attendance, they're not really worried about bringing shows back.
I don't think Chapek.
Well, he doesn't like entertainment. He doesn't want to pay for entertainment.
No, I don't think it's that he doesn't like entertainment. It's that he doesn't want to deal with equity union actors.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's been a point of contention with Disney for a while, is that equity actors have to be treated differently, have to be paid differently,
right.
Are on a different schedule than any of the other actors or any of the other cast members, basically. So, like, Disney has been at odds with the equity union for a very long time, and this is just the opportunity to get rid of them, which sucks because
it does.
Unions aren't a bad thing, especially when a company like Disney that already seems to not want to treat their cast members properly, like having a union back them up is only a good thing. And it's awful that all of them are gone and that all of these shows could potentially never come back.
Yeah. I don't think they'll never come back. I don't see that happening.
I don't see Fantasmic not coming back.
Yeah, I don't. Why not? Even Festival of Lion King. There's not that many shows in Animal Kingdom.
The other ones maybe being changed.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for Beauty and the Beast, Voyage of the Little Mermaid, and Finding Nemo to all be changed. And I do hope they take the opportunity to do that and actually bring back some equity cast members when the time is right. But it is a shame to see them just closed unceremoniously like it has been right now. And again, and like you said, I don't think Festival of the Lion King is going anywhere. That's probably the highest rated show they have. Fantasmic is a big deal. They could even finally change that like they did out in California. And Indiana Jones isn't going to go anywhere because it's Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Same thing with Frozen closing. I hope they'll take the opportunity to change that here in California.
They put so much into Frozen, though. It seems so weird that they would just close it like that. So yeah, that sucks. And our hearts go out to all the cast members who are still finding out that they're lost their jobs and that they were included in that 28,000. It's a real shame. And as I've said in another episode a few episodes ago, be sure to look into Cast Member Pantry and any of the other cast member stores and charities that are out there to donate to these poor cast members that have lost their jobs. It's hard out there, and they don't deserve that. So
buy from cast members for Christmas.
Yeah, there's a lot of great cast members selling stuff on Etsy. You can look into that and buy people Christmas gifts from these talented people that are making really unique gifts. So something to think about. There are links in the show notes if you're interested. All right, so moving on to some entertainment news. We've got quite a bit of it here. According to Deadline, Marvel's in talks with Oscar Isaac to star as Moon Knight in the upcoming Disney Plus series of the same name. Moon Knight, aka Mark Spector, is a mercenary who has numerous alter egos, cabbie Jake Lockley and millionaire playboy Stephen Grant, in order to better fight the criminal underworld. But later he was established as being a conduit for the Egyptian moon god Khonshu? They're also reporting that Egyptian filmmaker Mohammed Diab has been hired as one of the directors for the series. So this is interesting because I thought Oscar Isaac would never work with Disney again. And
maybe because didn't Lucasfilm handle all that stuff?
Yeah, but it's
like,
still Disney owns Lucasfilm.
Yeah, I know they own Lucasfilm, but I'm saying like maybe it's just somebody else from a different division reached out to him and
said, "We'll give you a lot of money."
Yeah.
Maybe he likes Marvel and not Star Wars.
Maybe.
You know, he'll probably go farther with the MCU than he would with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
These are just
Is
top.
Moon Knight, that sounds like a Batman.
He is like
ripoff.
he is kind of like
Yeah,
that.
he's Marvel's Batman. That's exactly what he is.
He's very popular, especially recently. These are just talks. He hasn't been confirmed yet, but they've gotten to the talking point, so it's probably going to happen that way. I've seen some people upset because Moon Knight is one of the few canonically Jewish superheroes. Oscar Isaac, not Jewish. Obviously, representation matters, so not having a Jewish actor play a Jewish character, kind of a big deal to a lot of people. And I get that. It's hard because Oscar Isaac, he is still a underrepresented race in film. Like he's a Latino man. There's not always a lot of them. There's not a lot of Latino superheroes. So like it's hard when a minority is being replaced by another minority.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of have that conversation. And I don't think you're wrong if you're upset that Oscar Isaac is playing Moon Knight because he's not Jewish. But I don't think you're wrong that you're excited to see this Latino man playing a superhero. I don't think that's wrong either. And I think it's entirely possible that Moon Knight's character being Jewish is a huge part of that character. I'm sure that'll be written into the show, and I'm sure Oscar Isaac would handle playing a Jewish character well. I don't think they will be disrespectful in that way. But again, like I said, I understand if you're upset because a Jewish person is not in this role. But I like Oscar Isaac, and I think he'll be a good fit for the MCU.
Yeah,
so.
I think he would too.
Yeah.
So.
And I really like Moon Knight, so...
Oh yeah, people are really excited for that one.
I also
And-
really like looking at him, so.
And by the way, Carissa, just to answer your question, yes, I would buy a Moon Knight pop. I'm staring at one right now.
Yeah, I was dying to know.
Moon Knight wears a mask though, so like you wouldn't see
Doesn't
him
matter.
outside.
He can have his mask off.
He will have his mask off all the time. Fucking Spider-Man
He's not
never
the
has
Mandalorian.
Spider-Man never has his mask on, and he's one of the few characters in the MCU who has a secret identity. So
If Oscar Isaac was playing the Mandalorian, then I would be a little upset. Because then I wouldn't get to see him.
Pedro Pascal, I think he comes into film The Mandalorian like once a session because he's normally played by a stunt double.
Wow.
Yeah, he is. And he just does the voice.
He normally just does the voice, yeah. A lot of the time it's a stunt double.
Mhm.
Mandalorian starts tomorrow too.
Yes.
All right, so moving on from that, more Disney Plus news. The Diz Insider reports that the long in development live-action CGI hybrid film version of Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers is set to film next year in LA and is planned for a Disney Plus release. The film will be directed by Akiva Schaffer, director of Hot Rod and pop star Never Stop, Never Stopping, and is set to see the return of voice actors from the original series, including Corey Burton, Trish McNeil, and Jim Cummings.
Yay.
Cool.
I love Jim.
Yeah, I love Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, and they announced this film years ago, and it's interesting to see that it's finally come in. I think, well, I would prefer it not be live action. I think of all of them, I guess Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers would be the one to be live action CGI hybrid, because they do often help humans in the show.
Oh, I
So
can think of it. Alvin and the Chipmunks.
that's what.
That's what I was about to say.
Well, that's the scary thing, is I hope it's not like that.
Wow.
I was about to say, that's what it's
Yeah.
going to be.
But even like Alvin and the Chipmunks, at least they're already little, right?
Well, right, you mean Chip 'n Dale?
Yes.
Yeah, they're normal
Yeah.
size. They're like
their
normal
size.
rodents.
But the difference with what's it called? The
Alvin and the
Chipmunks
Chipmunks.
is they weren't like that though. They were
Yeah.
kids.
Right.
Oh, you're
yeah.
saying in the movies they made them little.
Right. They turned them into the actual animal.
Right. Well, because that makes sense, and the other way doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if this is like Chip 'n Dale, at least they're already small.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, I guess I don't have too much faith in it, but I'm sure it's a thing that'll happen, I guess.
It'll work. That's what matters.
Oh, I
We'll see.
didn't realize Dale was played by a boy. I feel kind of stupid.
Dale is Corey Burton, and Trish McNeil is Chip.
Right. Trish McNeil. Oh, she's on The Simpsons all the time.
Yeah, they just speed up their voices. They just, like, pitch them up.
Right.
Anyway, next thing. Disney themselves have announced that a Disney Plus series based on Willow, Lucasfilm's fantasy adventure film from 1988, is coming soon. John M. Chu, the director of Crazy Rich Asians, is set to direct the pilot. Original film director Ron Howard is on board as an executive producer, and Warwick Davis, Willow himself, will be back in the title role. I've never seen Willow. It is on Disney Plus. Maybe it'll come up eventually, but I mean, that's cool. I don't have a lot of thoughts on Willow, but it's a new series coming to Disney Plus, so the original people are on board, so that's cool.
I don't either, except for it looks like it's a very long movie.
It's a fantasy film. I'm sure it is long.
Mhm.
There's a fantasy film in the 80s.
I'll look at it.
126 minutes.
Oh, you already looked at
Yeah,
it. 2 hours.
That's 2 hours. Yeah. Well, now it's going to be a series, so it's going to be more than 2 hours long.
Oh, great.
I'd say 2 hours isn't too bad.
Somebody out there, their favorite film is Willow, and they're super excited that Warwick
Oh,
Davis is
I've
coming back to play with.
seen,
I'm happy
some
for
people-
you, person.
I've seen some people on my Facebook that like it, that are
Yeah, it's got
excited for it.
like a following.
Warwick
It's not like the most popular 80s movie, but it's got a following.
I never heard of it.
is Wicket, right? Am I going?
Yes, Warwick Davis plays Wicket
Okay.
in.
Star Wars.
Yes.
I thought so.
All right, also from Disney themselves, Sneakerella, a pop hip-hop musical take on Cinderella, is coming to Disney Plus next year. The project will star Chusen Jacobs from IT, Lexi Underwood from Little Fires Everywhere, and four-time NBA champion John Sally.
This feels wrong. Like, that's a stereotype. Like, black people like sneakers. Like, that's...
I was thinking that too. Like, why is
That seems
the
a
black people
little
film?
bit not like, So it's a remake, right?
Yeah, here, let me read you the log line. Set in the avant-garde street sneaker subculture of New York City, Sneakerella introduces Elle Jacobs, an inspiring sneaker designer from Queens who works as a stock boy in the shoe store that once belonged to his late mother. Elle hides his artistic talent from his overburdened stepfather and two mean-spirited stepbrothers, who constantly stomp on any opportunity that comes his way. When Elle meets Kira King Underwood, the fiercely independent daughter of legendary basketball star and sneaker tycoon Darius King, Sally, sparks fly as the two bond over their mutual affinity for sneakers. With a little nudge from his best friend and a sprinkle of fairy godfather magic, Elle finds the courage to use his talent to pursue his dream of becoming a legit sneaker designer in the industry. So it's a role reversal. It's a male Cinderella.
Still
But
not
it's-
sure if that makes it okay. I don't know. I just... something about it feels a little wrong. Little icky. Little backwards when we've been going forwards with Disney and cultural representation and all that stuff.
I'm sure
I don't-
I'm sure they think it's good cultural representation because it's an all-black cast.
Yeah, I get it, but I don't know.
It's a stereotype because black people like sneakers.
Yeah.
Or quote-unquote black people like sneakers.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's cool that the roles are reversed, though.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I just read that. But I see where people are coming from, being like, a little iffy on that concept.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
It probably doesn't need to be made.
Probably not. It's just a Disney Plus movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
It's
I
also
guess
the,
that's
like,
okay.
500th freaking Cinderella movie that Disney's made.
Yeah, I guess it's okay. I mean, I don't think that there will be anything in it that sounds bad, and I think that the idea of like, it's like a double-edged sword because it's like, oh, isn't that a little bit insensitive, kind of tone deaf? But at the same time, are we ever going to argue that there doesn't need to be a movie about a little black boy following his dreams and succeeding? Like, of course not. So
I think
that's
he's a teenager, but yes.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, I guess we'll see. I'll watch it when it comes out.
Yeah, check back in.
Can't be any worse
a year.
than Second Born Society, Royals, people, whatever it's called.
The Secret Society of
the
Second-Born
Second-
Way
Royals.
worse than Artemis Fowl.
It'll have less of a budget than Artemis Fowl.
Well, it's mostly just people. It doesn't need like a big budget. Artemis Fowl was like supposed to be in fantasy worlds.
Yeah,
and-
well, it was still bad.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, that's where the budget went for Artemis Fowl. This doesn't need a budget. You know, it just needs a
Oh, you're
set
saying? Why are you
and
saying?
people.
Why doesn't it need a budget?
Because
Why
it's-
doesn't it need a budget?
it's just
Explain.
Because it's not like a fantasy world. It's just a normal
It's a fantasy
it just
movie.
takes-
There's a fairy
it
godfather.
takes place- you know what I mean?
I wonder who they're going to get to play him.
Guess we'll find out.
All right, last little piece of news that I got here. The Disney Parks blog has announced that the Taste of Epcot International Festival of the Arts is set to take place in 2021 from January 8th to February 22nd.
Yay!
I didn't write down any of the things that they're doing.
Oh, great. Good news source. I think that's cool because we didn't know if it was still going to happen because of COVID, and it is, so yay.
I think it was safe to assume it was going to happen. They've been doing food and wine festival since they've reopened. They
Yeah,
already said they're
but-
doing the holidays,
Yeah.
and I didn't think they were going to go right back to festival or food and wine festival. So for them
Yeah.
to do arts makes sense.
I think that the thing is Epcot's big enough so that they can social distance the lines and everything, and the festivals don't necessarily bring in so many more people than normally would, that it's like, oh, okay, we can't have this going on. So
They also want those food booths to be open. It's just easier for them to have the food booths open instead of all the quick service places. Yeah. So that's the real reason.
It says that they're still going to be doing the paint by numbers.
Yep.
The mural. They're also going to have live shows. They'll continue to do the live demonstrations, like the painting, the sculpting, the dancing.
Because you can probably do those from a safe distance.
And Jameters will be performing still.
They're still performing right now, so.
Yeah. And then I think they're also performing for Festival of the Holidays, so.
Yeah, because a lot of the storytellers and stuff aren't coming back for Festival of the Holidays.
Right.
Does it say if they're going to have any of the art booths? Where you can buy art?
Of course they are.
Because that to me seems like a bigger safety risk than the food booths, because you can only fit 2 people in those little booths. All they have to do is
stagger people in.
So
wait if you want to get close to the paintings.
That you'll enjoy over 15 food studios, and that you can witness and buy the work of artists on display.
All right, well, unless anybody has anything else to say about the news, we're going to move on to our featured film discussion on Atlantis, The Lost Empire. Spoilers for Atlantis, The Lost Empire. Let me read you the description from Disney+. The world's most highly qualified crew of archaeologists and explorers are led by historian Milo Thatch as they board the incredible 1,000-foot submarine Ulysses and head deep in the mysteries of the sea. The underwater expedition takes an unexpected turn when the team's mission must switch from exploring Atlantis to protecting it. Filled with stunning special effects, this captivating story is loaded with laughs and messages of friendship and teamwork. Sure. Directed by Gary Trousdale and Kirk Wise, the same duo who directed Beauty and the Beast and Hunchback of Notre Dame. Film stars Michael J. Fox, James Garner, Cree Summer, Don Novello, Phil Morris, Claudia Christian, and many others. All right, so Atlantis, The Lost Empire. Let's talk about it.
Great movie.
I was bored.
Yeah, I was about to say I love this movie.
Wow, that's the opposite of what Nikki said. Why are you bored, Nikki?
I don't know, because it hasn't been that long since the kids watched at work. Not that I really watched it, but I could hear it. And they've watched it 2 weeks in a row.
Why? Did they like it that much?
Yeah, they were really into it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Smart kids.
I was really into it too when I was little.
It's boring.
That's good to know that it's not lost on another generation.
I feel like this
Aubrey wouldn't watch it though. I don't think we could even get her to sit down to watch it.
I feel like this movie has been kind of lost because there's been a bit of a resurgence for some of the 2000s movies. Specifically, The Emperor's New Groove has seen quite a comeback in pop culture.
Hunchback too.
Well, Hunchback's older, but I mean in that generation. And of course, Lilo and Stitch never went away, but Atlantis is just kind of lost to the sands of time, I feel like.
Well, it should because it's great.
Why? Why do you like it?
I got a lot of things. So, Milo's a great character. He could get it, even though he's really skinny. And he's just a fun... I don't know, I feel like he's, his character's done so well. Who plays him?
Michael J. Fox. Marty McFly.
Oh, okay, yeah. He's great as...
Stuart Little.
As Milo. I thought that he was, he just kind of embodies that smart, nerdy... over eccentric, anxious. I don't know. He just captures a lot of good. He captures the character very well, and he's compelling to follow. And that was something that I remember liking when I was younger. I liked watching him go on an adventure, especially because he gets so excited about it and he's passionate about it. And that's something that's relatable to people. There's people who think that your thing is kind of lame, the museum guys, they don't want to fund his thing or whatever.
Well, it's because they think Atlantis is a myth.
Yeah, I know, I get it. But I'm just saying, that's relatable. Having something that you're really into that other people may not understand or, see. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
My thing with Milo is I think Michael J. Fox performs him very well. I think he is the least interesting character in this cast of characters. I think
really? I don't think that at all.
I think the side characters are all way more interesting. They're just it's just an eccentric cast of people, and he's just the boring lead. He's the straight man.
No, I don't think that at all. I don't think he's boring at all. I think he's a lot of fun to watch.
I think everybody else is more fun to watch around him. That's the problem.
I think the entire cast is amazing, though.
Yeah.
It was funny because literally I was listening to the other podcast that I listened to this morning, and she was talking about Frank and Weenie. Tragical podcast. I think it's literally just called Tragical Podcast. But anyways, they were talking about Frank and Weenie in the episode that I was listening to, and she was talking about how like in the whole town of Frankenweenie, like everybody is white, and there's one Japanese character, and I guess in the we haven't watched Frankenweenie in a long time, but I guess the Japanese character is poorly portrayed,
yes,
because he has really thick,
yes,
Japanese accent, and
yes,
he speaks broken English, and he's just like super stereotypical.
And his pet becomes like a kaiju. Yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, so we're talking about that, and then when we were watching Atlantis, I was like, damn, like Atlantis had a lot of different characters from different races, and I just felt like it was really well executed. Like none of those characters feel like cartoonish or stereotypes. They just feel like they have like a flair to them because that's the character, and I thought that was really well done. And this was made years ago, before all that stuff was like important to do. And I think that's really saying something with this movie. I think that's something that's underrated. I think all the side characters are underrated. Kita is a fucking badass. She looks so good, and I
have opinions on Kita too.
I love Kita. She's great.
She's amazing.
I think Kita is very good. I think the problem is we don't meet Kita until like 45 into this movie.
Yeah,
and the movie's only an hour and 30 minutes long.
They don't get to Atlantis
and
until...
halfway through meeting her, she turns into a crystal and is gone the whole rest of the movie.
Well, the little bit of Kita that we get is good.
Yeah. It is. And I do think there is something to be said, and I don't know why Kita doesn't come up in this conversation more. I think it's because people just don't care about Atlantis. There's been a lot of talk about why throughout the Renaissance, the Disney women of color, Jasmine, Pocahontas, and Esmeralda, are like over-sexualized compared to their white counterparts, and Kita is another Disney character of color who is very sexualized, possibly the most sexualized character in any Disney animated film. Kita is. The only one I think that might come close is Esmeralda, not in the way she dresses, just the way she acts.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that hasn't come up in conversation. That doesn't bother me, but I could see why it would bother.
No, I mean, I think I agree with that statement. She is a little bit over-sexualized, but I also don't mind it. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't find it negative.
Speaking of
over-sexualizing.
Sexy characters, is Helga Sinclair the most attractive Disney female they have ever made?
Too. I was like, damn, like the way they drew her with those hard edges, and she's always got something off her shoulder,
and
like,
her hair like over her face.
Yeah, but the way that she moves, like, so smooth, even though her edges are more jagged.
This whole movie is like that.
Yeah, I know. But with her, it's like super accentuated whenever her hair whips and stuff.
Well,
like,
when they first introduce her and she's in that like black dress with like the
Yeah.
off the side, I'm like, is this the sexiest Disney character of all time?
I thought it was hilarious, right? When she comes in, she's in Milo's house or apartment or whatever, and he's like, "Where did you come from?" And she says, "Down the chimney, ho ho ho," and then her dress strap falls off of her shoulder, and I was like, did she just say what she was?
I think that's the joke. I think that's the joke they're going for, but she's not a hoe. She's a badass.
She's a badass.
I know. She's just really sexy. Like, does this movie have the two sexiest Disney females of all time? It might. There's an argument to be made.
Don't search her image on Yahoo.
Well, first of all, who's using Yahoo?
Right?
I don't know. It was the automatic thing that popped up on Mom's computer, but there was some fan-made art in there.
I'm sure there's
good old
more
deviant art.
And I don't need to see that ever again.
Maybe you should use Safe Search.
I like, even though Helga doesn't do as much, I do like her better than the main villain, Rourke. Yeah. He's just kind of a generic bad guy. I mean, I like him because he's got kind of like a presence to him. Like, he seems imposing, but his whole thing just comes down to greed, which we've seen time and time again. Clayton from Tarzan is greedy. Radcliffe.
I was going to say, is Rourke, to me, is it just me, or does he just look like a reused Clayton model?
No, he's much bigger than Clayton.
I don't know. For some reason, he looked a lot like Clayton.
I mean, they do look similar.
They're basically the same character. They're just greedy big guys. Like,
the guy that they that hires them, and the cook guy.
Oh, they look
They
exactly
look
the same.
they look like the same fucking character.
The-
I'm like,
Maybe
didn't
they're
they just
brothers.
dress them different?
The main guy too, their employer, he reminds me of a character from a different movie, like completely. I can't remember what it was.
Sword in the Stone.
Merlin?
Yeah,
No. I honestly, I want to say it's the Pioneer guy, actually, from Gravity Falls. He reminds me of, but I could be wrong.
Oh, McGucket. McGucket.
Is that who it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just saw him and I was like, why does this guy look like he's a character from another different movie or another Disney feature? And I think that's who it is McGucket. He looks almost identical to him, but McGucket is more like the other guy that she's talking about, the chef guy.
Yeah. Nikki, what were you going to say?
I just want to point out how interesting it is that, I didn't realize that the kind of like getting Hollywood celebrities that were famous in these movies started so long ago. It started around this time.
I think it started with Oliver and Company.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Maybe,
thinking.
but that's pretty much only, what's his name?
It's Billy Joel and Bette Midler, though.
Billy Joel
Yeah,
and Bette Midler, right.
Bette Midler.
But then we had-
then Robin Williams was the real big one.
Toy Story came out and it had
Tim Allen, Tom Hanks.
Tim Allen and Tom Hanks. And then Hunchback of Notre Dame, of course, had
Demi Moore and
Moore and
Calvin Klein, right?
no.
Who's the guy who plays Phoebus?
I wanted to say Kurt Russell, but that's not right.
It's not Kurt Russell. It's not Kurt Russell.
I'm looking right now.
It's Klein. Kevin Klein? Is that his name? Not Calvin Klein. That's the guy who made
Kevin
underwear.
Kline, yes.
It's Kevin Klein, right.
Kevin Kline.
right.
And then also, Jason Alexander, too, because at that time, that's when Seinfeld was on.
Yeah.
Also, what's his name? John Smith.
Oh, Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. But I
Hey,
just
this
find
all-
it really...
It all started with the genie. But anyway, go on.
Yeah. But I just found it really interesting that Michael J. Fox played Milo, and then they got Cree Summer, who, while she is a really, like, popular and famous, like, voice actress, she's not, like, a famous
Celebrity.
actress.
Like a big celebrity.
Right. So I find that to be really interesting.
I thought that was interesting as well. I wonder if Cree Summers maybe wasn't their first pick. Maybe they couldn't get somebody else to voice Kida, so they went with her. Because most of the characters aren't voiced by just normal voice actor people. Most of them are character actors.
Right.
So Cree Summers being one of the main characters and just being a voice actress is an interesting pick for a film of this time period. But I think she plays the character well.
She does. I mean, it's not as if she hadn't been on anything like not voice. Like she was on A Different World, but for the most part, she is a voice actress. So I just thought that was really interesting. And then I also just noticed that Corey Burton, who we were just talking about earlier, plays Mole.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like Mole. I don't think he's...
I love Mole.
I
He
think
reminds me of a lot of like tuck and roll.
I was about to say, Mole is probably my second favorite character behind Audrey.
Maybe it's just because I'm a 30-year-old man that I just don't find him as funny anymore. I find all the other characters much funnier.
Oh, I thought he was
Yeah, I
funny.
find him weird.
Mole's
He's
always
supposed to
been
be
my
weird.
favorite.
I find all the other characters funnier. Like Sweet is so good. The Doctor,
He is
he's
really
he's
good.
so funny.
Sweet
He's
is
really
great.
good.
He's so funny. I need you to fill
When he
these.
throws him the eye covers, the eye patch or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
to wear to sleep because
Yeah,
he's
he's-
Packard while
The
sleeps
whole
in the
movie
nude.
is pretty funny. Like, you don't even realize how many one-liners there are in here.
I wish I
it's
knew.
really funny.
Wish I knew somebody like Sweet who would just walk up to me out of random and just crack my back.
I feel like he's animated different than all the other characters. He moves like really quick. Like he's just really expressive, like with his hands and his motions and his movements, and like it just stands out from all the other characters.
Yeah, it
That's
does
what part
here
of his
that
personality.
it says on the Wikipedia, it says Sweet supervising animator Ron Husband indicated that one of the challenges was animating Sweet in sync with Morris's rapid line delivery while keeping him believable.
So he was delivering the lines quickly, so he was trying to animate him quickly.
Yeah.
That's
That
interesting.
makes sense. It's all good though.
Yeah, I really like.
That's what I'm saying. Like every character that they did in this movie is good. Like
Yeah, but I'm saying that the lead is the least interesting of any of them.
Well, I mean, I disagree. I think that Milo is very, what do you call it?
I don't think he
compelling.
would be as interesting if he wasn't played by Michael J. Fox.
That's probably
Yeah.
fair to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael J. Fox puts his all into every performance he does. So, all right, Brady, what were you going to say about the king?
I just kind of wish the king of the Atlanteans would have been more
Of a character.
more of a character and everything, because they got Leonard Nimoy, one of the greatest humans of all time, to play him, and it's like he was kind of there like twice. And
Yeah,
I feel like it was wasted for Leonard to be there.
I disagree, because I feel like Leonard Nimoy brings like I said about Rourke, I think he brings a presence to him. I think the way he has this like raspy voice, it's still kind of powerful in the way he speaks, even when he's supposed to be portraying like a character who's dying, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in what a small role he has, he does really well.
Yeah, he does. I just wish it was more.
Sure.
I want Disney to do this kind of movie, but like in CGI. Is that the right term? I want them to do like a Treasure Planet, Atlantis. You know, like I want them to do one of these like now. I really do. Like not so much an adventure movie, because they do adventure movies, right? Like Moana goes on an adventure. Raya is going to be like an adventure movie. But I kind of want them to revisit this with like the steampunk vibes and stuff like that, and like the whole kind of like a treasure hunt type-esque thing. Like, I think it would be really cool to see what they did with this in animation. I feel like this type of movie may be dead, and that's sad, but it would be kind of interesting to see where they take it, especially if they did this where they again had multiple different characters from multiple different backgrounds, because like Atlantis is fiction, so you can kind of come up with whatever story you want to go along with it, right? So I would like for them to do that, and then also come up with a story that is like kind of more original. Not, more original than Atlantis, but I would like to see that.
This might be a controversial statement, but this might be one of the ones that they could revisit as a live action remake.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of them that isn't it this one that I've heard a lot of people want to come back as a live action with Tom Holland and Zendaya?
Tom Holland.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But
they want Tom Holland and Zendaya to play everybody.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not wrong.
People who come up with these like fake casts can't think further than the MCU, because it's always just Tom Holland and Chris Pratt who play every character. But
Chris.
Yes. We're not going to talk. I don't want to talk about that. I do not want to talk about my disappointment in Chris Pratt. Anyway, why I was saying that maybe this should be one of the ones they consider to update into live action is because I feel like one of the things that kind of holds this movie back is the fact that it is a Disney animated movie. The fact that it is Disney, I feel like, kind of keeps it from going as far as they could with it. It's a very mature movie, much more mature than most of Disney's animated films, but I feel like it could still go a little bit further. I still feel like it's held back by the sort of Disney sentimentality of everything. And Disney has really gone a long way with some of their live action films to sort of go past that Disney image with something like the Pirates of the Caribbean films or like the Lone Ranger. And like, obviously not all of those movies work, but if they did like a live action Atlantis with like the budget of a Pirates and the maturity of a Pirates and the adventure of a Pirates movie, I feel like they could really create a new Pirates franchise, basically like a new franchise. I think there's some type
of Pirates, Treasure Planet mix.
Yeah, I think there's enough in the adventure aspect of Atlantis and the concept of the characters and the location and like all the mysticism of it, because there's a lot of like supernatural stuff in this movie. There's a lot of like creatures that aren't real and a lot of like kind of magic sort of, but they don't really dive into it very much. It's just kind of there. It's just kind of like, well, Atlantis is this mystical place, so like that's kind of what it is. And if they did like a 2-hour big budget live action trilogy, they could really dive into that more. I feel like this is the kind of
I wish that Leviathan was used more.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that they had bigger plans for, and there's something I want to talk about a little bit later, but apparently the volcano was going to play a bigger role as well. They had more plans for a more intense scene within the volcano. So like, I think a lot of what holds it back is the fact that it is a Disney animated movie. And for what it is good. I don't dislike this movie. I think it is a good movie. I admire it a hell of a lot for being kind of a risky story to tell, a risky take, coming off of the Disney Renaissance where everything was, I don't want to say safe, but it was it fit into a Disney mold. You know, they were all fairy tales. Like, even some of the ones that at the time seemed riskier, like Aladdin or Pocahontas or Hunchback, they still all kind of fit into that Disney mold in their own way. This is a very different kind of movie from the Renaissance, and you can even tell that in the way that it looks with like the pointed angles and everything. Mm-hmm. So I definitely admire this movie, but I think that it could be executed better.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think the art is really nice, though.
Yeah, that scene where Kida walks on the water and like gets like levitated into the energy with like the floating busts of the past kings. That scene, the animation it's so wonderful. It's like one of the best animated scenes in any Disney movie. It's just music. There's no talking. It's just, it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's a really great looking movie for sure.
Well, Matthew, I know you want to talk about Disney park stuff.
Yeah, I did want to talk about Atlantis in relation to the Disney parks, and this is something that maybe if it comes up again in a different movie, I'll bring it up, because I'm always fascinated by things that were never built in the Disney parks. Like, it's just fascinating to see what Imagineers thought of, and there was...
It's really fascinating to see what they thought of, and it makes you mad.
Yeah, and at one point, Imagineers were all in on Atlantis, because this came up the other day. A Twitter account, Atlantis is Waiting, which is like a fan account that's getting ready for the 20th anniversary of Atlantis next year, which is fascinating to me that there's an Atlantis fan account. But anyway, they were tweeting about a bunch of like promotional stuff about Atlantis, and they tweeted pictures of the Atlantis expedition banner that Imagineers put up in 1998 on the submarine voyage in Disneyland, which was closed at the time. They put up this banner that said that they were working on the Atlantis expedition. And what happened was the very next day they were told to take it down because they were never approved to make an Atlantis expedition ride. That was never approved. Imagineers, this is something that Tony Baxter has said before. He's a really talented Imagineer who worked on Big Thunder Mountain and Splash Mountain and Star Tours, all kinds of stuff. He said that Imagineers really love the submarines, and it has been a challenge for them to keep the submarines around as long as possible because it's just something they really are passionate about. And the submarines were on the verge of being taken out of Disneyland, so they were like, well, we've got this new Atlantis movie coming out in a few years. What if we made the submarine into an Atlantis ride? So before the pitch was even approved, they put up a sign saying that that was what they were going to do, and they actually got in trouble because it was never approved. And I just think it's fascinating that they were planning this 3 years before the movie was even out. They were planning an attraction based on it. And of course, the movie ended up coming out, didn't do too well at the box office, wasn't critically successful, so that never happened. And luckily for them, a few years later, Finding Nemo came out. They were able to turn the submarines into the Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage, a ride that, let's face it, is incredibly boring.
The subs gotta go. They gotta go. I mean, They gotta go. I'm sorry, but it's time. Like,
the fact that they tried to do this in 98 and then the ride didn't even come out until, or the movie didn't even come out until 2001. Nemo didn't even open until what, 2007?
2004 was when the movie came out. 2007 was, I believe, when
the ride opened. So they had plans for it that didn't go through, and it waited 9 years before they got something in there.
I think the concept of the subs is good, and I think that, like, I get that at one point it was really cool, but now when you go on it, it's just, I mean, it's more work than it is fun, I think. And like now it can't even exist in today's world because you can't even social distance in a freaking sub. So who knows about that? But I don't know. I just think that Disneyland is, with the extension of Galaxy's Edge, and now that we know that Toontown is not going anywhere, that park there is very little space left, and they're gonna have to start cutting some stuff. And Disney, cut Autopia, cut the subs. I don't know what you want to do with the monorail, but take it down, reroute it, do whatever you have to do. But it's time for it to all go, and time for it to become something else.
Jesus.
Sorry.
You're hurting
Sorry to all the purists.
You're hurting Imagineers right now.
It's time for Carissa to go.
So the interesting thing about the submarine, the Atlantis expedition concept was that you were actually going to be looking for treasure, and that it was going to be gamified. You were going to have like a little control thing where you like grab treasure as the sub was like going.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And this came up not just because
Why
of that.
do they love that concept so much?
I don't know. This was even
I
before
don't
Buzz
want to
Lightyear.
play a game. Like, I like it in terms of the concept of, like, Smuggler's Run, that type of thing. But, like, this little pointing and shooting thing, like, I swear to God, we're gonna have too many of them at this point, after
It's
fucking
all
Spider-Man
about
opens.
guest engagement. They want to engage the
I
guests.
don't like
that
it.
was in the 2000s.
Spider-Man is a video game?
It keeps kids happy. Well, it's like a
this
shooting
web
thing.
slinger is gonna be a
Oh, I didn't
like
know
an
that.
interactive
Yeah,
thing.
you like flip your hands. Like it's like VR, like or not VR. It's like AR. It like can see your hand like moving.
Well, two of the biggest rides that are in other countries that I want are both also video games, so Carissa would hate me.
I don't hate the idea of video games. I just hate the idea that every ride has to be like that. Like interactive, but in like the laziest way possible. Like point and shoot. Like that to me is like why are we doing a point and shoot Spider-Man when we have a point and shoot Toy Story 5 feet away from here? It's just not exciting.
Two of
That's
them.
all.
Two of them. That's what I want. I wanted Ant-Man, which is Buzz Lightyear.
Isn't Ant-Man Spider-Man?
No, Ant-Man is Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, so it's the same.
It
Buzz Lightyear R? Buzz Lightyear or Buzz Lightyear World?
Paris is Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear. No, Hong Kong. Hong Kong had a Buzz Lightyear shooting one, which was just like ours, and they changed it to Ant-Man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought it was in
reskinned
Paris.
it. No, Paris is getting it too.
Oh, yeah. But that's what I wanted. That or Iron Man. Those are the two that I want.
I love Buzz Lightyear, but I don't think it's long for this world in either park.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, I was talking about Atlantis.
Sorry.
It's Carissa's fault.
You started talking about the parks.
I was talking about Atlantis in terms of the theme parks, and this was brought on again because forever favorite Jenny Nicholson tweeted about this, and she mentioned that she would have preferred Atlantis to Finding Nemo because when they were developing the Atlantis ride was before they started really using screens and projections, so it would have used a lot of practical effects and been really cool, as opposed to Finding Nemo, which just relies on screens for the whole thing. But Atlantis and the theme parks gets even more crazy because, like I said, Imagineering was all in on Atlantis. So they were planning a roller coaster themed to Atlantis for Walt Disney World, for Magic Kingdom's Adventureland. So, like I said earlier, the volcano in the original pitch was supposed to be a much bigger part of the movie. I don't exactly know how, but it was. So they came up with this concept called Atlantis Fire Mountain. And it was a roller coaster where you were escaping the volcano. You were escaping the fire. And this was a plan that they were pitching for Adventureland. There's not much known about it beyond that, but rumors were circulating a couple years ago that they were planning to bring the concept back as a Moana volcano ride where you were running away from Taka.
Interesting. So is that Journey to the Center of the Earth?
No, it would have been a roller coaster. Like an actual roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
That sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome.
It does. I just think it's insane that there were two plans for two different
Yeah.
Atlantis
Well,
rides.
Atlantis
In
gives
two different
off
parts.
that steampunk thing, and then also Atlantis, the concept of Atlantis is really, it's such a versatile concept, you know, like between the steampunk and the city itself, it's way more timeless than, say, like Tomorrowland. So it makes a lot of sense why they would kind of go crazy with that, because they can kind of do like whatever they want. And it should be in the parks, but it's not going to be because it's not.
It's just nuts to think of how different things would be if certain films would have made money.
Yeah.
Like
like,
this one.
This could have existed in two different parks. There were plans, maybe we'll get into this at a different time, but there were plans to put the Lone Ranger over Big Thunder Mountain if
Yeah.
that movie would have made money. Yeah.
Which was
No.
terrible.
Yeah.
No.
There were, speaking of shooter rides, early in the 80s, there were plans for a shooter ride based on, nope, The Black Hole.
Wow.
Yeah.
Black hole.
The
What
Black
the heck
Hole,
is
a movie you've never heard of because it's not good. and it didn't make any money. But there were plans for a shooting ride, the very first one.
And you meant the Black Cauldron.
Nope, the Black Hole. The Black Cauldron did have an attraction in Tokyo Disneyland.
What?
Yes, there was a Horned King animatronic.
Oh, that's cool.
Look up the Defunct Land video. Anyway, let's get back to Atlantis: The Lost Empire and not just random Disney theme park stuff. Another thing I wanted to say about Atlantis: The Lost Empire is that the villain's plan sucks. It is a bad plan.
Yeah, he's just kind of dumb. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna steal this thing. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna steal it.
Yeah, like their whole thing was like, we're gonna go down there and we're gonna be rich because we're gonna take this giant crystal thing. And it's like, well, first of all, how do you know that you're going to be able to take it? Second of all, why do you have to steal anything? You're discovering Atlantis. Aren't you going to get rich just by discovering the lost city of legend? Like,
also, he kept a page from Milo, and he was like, so he couldn't figure it out. But he couldn't read the page himself. He needed Milo to read the page. All he had was a picture, and the picture didn't give him any context. So he really had no fucking clue what he was doing. He was just like, I'm just gonna go and get rich by somehow.
It's a bad plan.
He just kind of goes along he makes it up as he goes along. And it's just dumb. It's dumb.
It's a really bad plan. And then it's an even stupider plan when he finally gets to, and he sees the thing and he's still like, well, I still want to take it. And it's like, we don't have any idea how to even get it down from there. If Kita wouldn't have been sucked into it and turned into a crystal thing, like, what was his goal?
And that book, the whole point of that book was just to find Atlantis and talk about its history. Nowhere in that book was they going to give him a play-by-play of instructions on how to get it back to the surface or get it back to, somewhere to sell it. So he's like over here like, oh, tell me how to do this. And he's like, what? There's no... Dumb. There's no plan for that.
Sweet even says at the end of the movie to Milo, like, there'd be a hero's welcome at home for the man who discovered Atlantis. Rourke could have been the man who discovered Atlantis if he just didn't let his greed get in the way.
Yeah.
Right.
The villain's plan of this movie is really terrible. But I like when he turns into a crystal monster and gets turned into a billion little pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that part was pretty cool.
I always wanted that to an Atlantis world in Kingdom Hearts so I could fight like heartless Rourke as a crystal monster.
That would be cool.
Cool.
Atlantis is underused in the Kingdom Hearts games, let me tell you.
It's underused everywhere.
I mean, that's true.
That was always one of my favorites when I was little, so I love this movie. I think it's really good. I love adventure movies. Like, let's go on an adventure.
I think it's a fun little adventure movie. Like I said, it's not perfect. It's got some problems, and I think it's held back by being a Disney movie, but I think it could... I think it's better than people give it credit for.
Absolutely.
I think it's better than even Disney gives it credit for.
Absolutely.
And I say the same thing about Treasure Planet. I think that movie's better than people give it credit for.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Which is from the same sort of dark period of Disney where it was all downhill after the Renaissance, where Pixar was the only thing keeping them alive. But yeah, does anybody else have anything to say about Atlantis: The Lost Empire?
One thing I wanted to say was, I don't know if it's just me or if anybody else noticed it, but the five guys from the beginning or whatever that at the museum that he was trying to talk to or whatever, is it me or did they look like 5 different adaptations of Batman's the Penguin?
I mean, I guess kind of. They're just like big puffy dudes in suits.
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to that.
All of them had umbrellas, and there was like the big one because like the iconic Danny DeVito penguin. There was a skinnier one, which is like the more modern penguin. It threw me off. I thought it was a Batman film for a minute.
You're so weird.
I mean,
I'm sorry. I like
the way he's describing it doesn't seem like that much of a stretch.
The main one was voiced by David Ogden Stiers.
Maybe whoever animated it is a big Batman fan.
Everyone's a big Batman fan, so probably.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say the main one is voiced by David Ogden Stiers, who is Cogsworth. And Jumba Jukiba.
And the bad guy, right?
I do
Which
like
one?
Jumba.
The bad guy from Pocahontas?
Yes, Radcliffe. And his assistant,
Radcliffe.
Higgins, I think, is the assistant.
Interesting.
It's been a long time since I watched Pocahontas.
Yes. I don't think I have any more hot takes. I got through all my notes. I was just going to say that it's like, it's more, to me, like, movies like this and Treasure Planet, I like how they took you to, like, multiple locations versus, like, some of the other movies nowadays where it's like, the scenes aren't as complex. And I just think the backgrounds in this movie are really beautiful to look at, and I just like every single place. Sorry, that this movie takes place in Disney.
Yeah.
Like the volcano looks good, Atlantis looks good, even in Milo's little I was gonna call it the bunker, the boiler room. Like all of them just look interesting. Yeah.
I like the designs of all the like vehicles. They all look very good. The submarine especially looks really cool. You're talking about like the fish, the flying fish?
The bikes.
Yeah, those are cool too. And Brady mentioned the Leviathan earlier. Super rad, the Leviathan. I do wish it was in the movie more. I think it was planned to. Like I said, there was a lot of changes to this movie before it came out. I think the Leviathan had a bigger role, but it's pretty badass in the movie.
Yeah, I liked it.
I do think it's funny that as they're like exploring the unders, trying to get to Atlantis, like they're in the caves and stuff, there's like perfectly paved roads for them to like drive around. Like it's just big enough for all their cars. Like that's not realistic.
Yeah, that was funny.
Nobody's ever made it that far, so why would there be roads for the cars to drive on? Come on. And then later they drive across that bridge with the cars. Like, no, that's not a thing that happens.
Yeah, the fact that they were able to make it across that bridge. Jeez. No way.
All right, so any final thoughts on Atlantis?
You just asked that.
All right. Any final thoughts on Atlantis? All right,
You said
final thoughts on Atlantis.
You said next year is its 20th anniversary, right?
Yes, 2001.
So SDCC, can I get a Milo Kita 2-pack Funko Pop? Like we did with the Black Cauldron this year?
It's only a matter of time. I mean, they've
one,
already...
A one and done? One and done?
It's only a matter of time. I don't think they have any Renaissance movies left. Oh, Tarzan, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Nikki, is this a plus or a bust? Be true to yourself.
True to your heart. You must be true.
I think it's a plus for the sake of like the art, and then I guess the story. But overall, I find it to be boring.
Okay, Brady, is this a plus or a bust?
I'm giving it a hard plus. I mean, it's the art is beautiful. The cast is just great. I mean,
Are you laughing because he said hard plus? That doesn't make any sense.
Because I was gonna say, please don't ever say that if you're giving something a bust.
A hard bust.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Brady, but that's really funny.
Your guys are all children.
Yes.
But
Chris,
not
is
like
this a-
young children,
Chris is-
like teenage children.
Chris, is this a plus or a bust?
This is it's a hard plus.
Thank you.
Good
Nah,
Lord.
is this a plus or a bust?
I would also give this movie a plus. Like I said, maybe there's some problems with the story, and I don't think Milo and Kita are super interesting, but I think, like Brady said, the art style is great. I think all the side characters are great. I think there's a lot of good humor in it. It's got a good adventure element. I think this is a concept that deserves better, but I do think the movie itself is still good. I would give it a plus. So, are we ready to find out what
No.
next week's movie is going to
We're
be?
so not ready.
Oh Lord.
Why do you have Noelle
Yes.
in there? We already decided we're doing it. Take it out. Take it out.
Do you take
Nope.
the movie? No, obviously you don't take the movies that we already watched out.
Yeah,
If
I
it
do.
comes up, we'll just skip it.
No, I take them out.
Oh, you take it out?
Yeah, Atlantis might be in here though, because I don't know if I took it out.
Sure hope we get Dinosaur 2000.
Oh, no,
we
Atlantis
get
is... Oh no, it's right here. I can take it.
And there'll be another one that I'm just like, oh, really?
hope we get Emperor's New Groove.
Oh,
Hope we
that's
get
funny.
Lady and the Tramp 2's Campus Adventure.
Please stop. I'm picking it.
Oh god, here we go.
We're not taking any of those.
All right, so the movie we're watching next week is a Goofy movie.
Yes. Oh my god.
Alright, well we really don't need to watch it then, because we just watched it.
We're gonna watch it.
I
we're
will watch
not.
it I'm gonna go watch it right now.
Oh my god. We just watched it. Okay, we're not arguing about this. Alright, finish up your show.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Plus or Bust, a Disney podcast. If you liked it, be sure to leave a review on iTunes or anywhere else that you can leave a review. Recommend it to a friend. Tell everybody, please. We need the views. Please.
It's not views, it's listens.
Whatever, we need them.
Also, don't beg for listens.
Please!
Just love us.
We're doing this because we love Disney.
No, you don't. You wanted to skip. Never mind.
No,
Yeah, you wanted to skip an
I
icon.
love doing the podcast. I don't have a problem talking about a Goofy movie. I just didn't want to watch it. We just watched it. I love the Goofy movie. That's one of my favorites.
I'm watching it every day.
Okay.
Anyway, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Plus or Bust. You can join our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Disney Plus or Bust. You can send us an email with any questions or concerns or anything else you want to tell us, DisneyPlusOrBust@gmail.com. And be sure to check out Cast Member Pantry. Donate to the cast members. It's good. It's a good cause. Other than that, we'll see you next week with a Goofy movie. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Still fucking want the Madame Leota. They didn't have it when Mom went down.
You're talking about the sipper?
No, the Madame Leota fogger.
What the fuck is a fogger?
What are you talking about? I
I'm
thought it was
watching
a
the
zipper.
story. No, this is the crystal ball fogger.
Oh, it's in the story you sent.
Yeah.
Oh.
What does it do? Like fog up?
It talks and then it fogs up.
Oh, I don't need it to talk.
I think it talks. I want the
That
spirit
sounds
jersey for
dirty.
Coco.
I don't need it to talk.
The
Well,
train.
that's also true. I say that about you all the time. I don't need it
Oh,
to
the
talk.
new Starbucks mugs are
There's these
great.
cute little necklaces in here too. Clarissa wears one for you and one for...
There's
Yeah.
There's a child lounge fly.
I'm just
There's
kidding.
another
I never
child
said that
lounge
about
fly. Mom is also tagging me in shit on the book
You
face.
don't talk, so somebody has to talk.
you. Oh my god.
Are you trying to start recording? Is that what's going on?
No. Well, I mean,
Oh.
yes, but no. I'm just.
Oh.
It's just her. I'm oh my godding at her. Because I made a dumb joke and then she threw it back in my face.
Do we think these entertainment cast members that were let go were a part of the 28,000?
Which
Yes.
one's the equity ones?
Yes. They just heard about it last. Because it took them so long to get through everybody, people were still hearing about it.
Oh, Mom just was the Mr. Toad. Because that shit's
What else is new?
terrifying.
You want everything.
You're not wrong. Shut up.
Alright. Are we ready? Can I start this?
Nope.
Oh my god.
Sorry, okay, I'm not.
Target had the Mr. Toad Pop yesterday. I don't know if you need it or
I do. I don't have it. What?
What?
Are we ready?
Are we?
Yes,
I don't
we
know.
might be able to hear
That
cat
didn't
in the
sound like it was a
background.
response to what I said or what he said, so that was kind of weird.
No, I told him that I don't. He said if I needed the Mr. Toad Pop, and I said I don't have a Mr. Toad Pop.
Oh.
I have it on pre-order from somewhere. I don't know if I'll ever get it, but I have it on pre-order. But they had it at Target.
Oh well, I don't have it. Anyway, I'm gonna start.
Okay.
Is that okay with you?
What are you asking me permission for?
You were the one who said no the first time.
I was just joking.
All right, I'm starting.
Okay. Don't fumble your words.
Sorry.
You read it.
No.
Read it. Be the lead.
Coming up in just kidding. I can't read that much. I'll start. I won't. I can't read. I can't read anymore. I'm stupid.